Welcome back to the Lindsay TVFilm podcast, where today this stream is actually delayed. This would be a few weeks back, but that means I got a chance to do two things. One, I had to film this list for this episode, and two, rewatch Encanto, because I watched that in June. I was going to do something in January, but, well, that never happened. So, yeah, I'm testing out the new feature with the inserting the slides in. So without further ado, let's get into this. So I was talking about, I just watched Encanto again, as I was saying. I don't know, like all the rats skirting around this time, and a few other details, but it's like, it's been not long ago. I'm like, oh, I really remember this. Basically remember the basic plot to the T. Needs to have another like thought coming in on this time, but it's like, I just can't find into that word. I don't know, like, wrap that up just under an hour ago. My rewatch, I had dinner early, I didn't have lunch today. But interestingly, back when I was watching this back at the beginning of the year, was that hot take. Mirabelle is one of my 10 least favorite character designs of all time, but it has to be one of my 10 favorite. But now has 10 favorite, along with just all my main characters, except the Red Lotus. Even Eska and Disney are a bit better, although they aren't as strong of characters. They're kind of minor characters. I thought they'd be more important as the series went on, but that just wasn't the case. I'm thinking like all her being aesthetically inferior also kind of adds insult to injury to her plight, but that's just my opinion. I don't really think of it. Still, things makes her maybe a bit more like normal and more relatable, I guess. I don't know exactly. That might just be down to personal opinion, nothing that Disney had going for that. But and basically it's like telling her that basically the abuela's fault. So basically I wrote down as basically the matriarchal power really backfired on everyone. Leading to secrets and Bruno and Mirabelle being basically disowned by her. I think about always seeing that she was doing the right thing for others. She got carried away by the miracle and is able to see that. Being able to recognize where you go wrong and to listen is key to family, in my opinion. That's sort of that Alfred's time. Yeah, dude. Families just really need time to talk it out from time to time. It's kind of continue on this whole like list of rants that I did just because. So it's like, from that, I said, although getting children more active and stuff creates friendship, it's like thinking like there's a thing going on like long-term friendships on, and I was like, it's definitely emotional roller coasters. We've been strong relationship. Like, I've only seen her in person once, and that was like total coincidence at Cedar when she had a day off from Kings Island. I was on shift at Cedar Point. Like, maybe like on break or another day off. I was so annoyed that I couldn't like just chill with him for a while. But Ellen hates me now, so it doesn't matter that much. I just sometimes feel his parents push kids to do too much, like lose the situation. Like after elementary, I did work choir, which was until MA, and then I did GMS in senior year, and then Scouts was my main outside of school activity until college. I haven't really follow what's happening, especially since with COVID. My dad leaving before COVID too. No, yeah, that's not really worth my time, but long trying to give kids the world was a buzz thing, and okay, this is not even. This is more coast related. This should be on my other channel, but this is a hot take. I don't know what you would describe it as, but SPF should seriously donate them one of their spinning coasters. And also, I've been planning on being here in Madrid, studying abroad, daily since I started college. It was actually when the program started in fall 2018. Fun fact. I think King's Own key to hitting 100 before Spain. That was Blue Fire at Euro Park in Germany. I still think of desires about Phoenix and all that. And I think I said it was 19 euro to get a Barcelona or something like that. Or something. I just deleted it. So I thought of this next part here is maybe a little too personal. It's kind of been on my two layers that moving my father's kind of a mess, but part of the news is that I'll be at Avalon the week of June 11th with my stepdad. I'll be seeing him on the 22nd, after I get back. So there's been stuff like, finding closure, been kind of my mind with, those stories from high school and all that. That's right. Like other stories as well. Like at the time when I first wrote down the stuff for Encanto, I got back into my Jazzland-based novel series and that related universe. I'm like, I don't really want to share anything with that or the other story that I have, which is actually Hershey Park based, and both of them are kind of like they're just fans of their park. And then maybe eventually they get wound up in Thuzy shit. I don't know at this point. I was thinking about for a series. I sort of like parents' divorce and all that with some aesthetics of Revice is that I had good plots when the show got going, but the pilot, it was a mess. I know which way I wanted to go with it. And also, Colorado, but more so recently, a bit of number as well is that we're seeing that there's nothing really black and white, and justice is subjective. Nothing goes without cost, even if we can't tangibly tell it. Everything, especially since with the point system and sort of all the backgrounds of the Don brothers, and now how the siblings are kind of split. Icky and Vice do their own thing. Daiji is trying to destroy Phoenix from the inside out. And Sakura and now Aguilera. But things really as Hana from been reading is that they're part of Weekenders which is led by George's dad. Okay, this is going into what is going to hang up next time, but and they're dealing with Phoenix on the outside. This thing, comparing it to the previous Latin American-based film, is that, like Coco, the film is about family ties and restoration of family honor as a minor plot as Hector and Bruno are welcomed back to the family, even though Hector is dead and he was almost completely destroyed with Abuela Coco's death, but Miguel is able. That's Miguel, right? That Miguel is able to bring the dead relatives back together to respect Hector, and because Ernesto basically framed him, basically killed him because he didn't want to pursue the career full time and ended up stealing his stuff, and that is it. And also both ruined family dinners at one point because I think Miguel gets so annoyed at the family that he runs off, and that's the inciting incident. And then the ruined dinner is with the proposal date type sitting at the house, which is closer to the climax. Yeah, I think it's probably a bit later. Like the next day is probably the climax. Like, yeah, it's probably closer to third of the. It's a weird point. Like, I think the climax is basically is what else can I do? I think that's the climax of the film, because if that's when everything bad happened, where basically all of everybody's worst fears happens, like, and the house gets destroyed and all that, and then Abuela accepts blame for everything that's happened, her flashback, and then things start winding down. But yeah, it was very little to me, and is a very good feeling. I was like, kind of like knowing the plot, I felt like it was a little bit like just everything else to do. Like, I wasn't looking in detail like any Easter eggs or stuff, but it was like, oh look, there's more rats, there's a few other things, but yeah. So Turning Red is more recent, like less than 2 months old. This content, even it's probably, I think it's about closer to a month in terms of this actual review, because like I was talking about with Coco and Encanto just now, is that there is some family struggle. I know this is more specifically between parent and child than sort of the grand matriarch, which is the grandmother, who I think is actually more. I think it's probably a bit better than the mother, because I think she's wise enough to know of her mistakes. But it certainly is a lot smaller, because it's mother, dad, single parent, and then the aunts and the grandmother who show up later on. But it's like May feels that she has her freedom and it's really young of her duties to family, and Temple, that's, hey, like, she's in mass transportation, but it's like a big city, so it makes sense, especially Canada, where it's based. But like thing, I was like sort of like, I was like, how is Ming quote unquote blessed with such a huge pen? Everyone else is about the same size, like maybe a bus or so. That's just because she was really, really angry. But even her husband says she has a big panda compared to her mother. So I'm like, so it's just like, so that's the main thing, is that either like feeling or emotion or something based to it, then wouldn't that comment wouldn't the dad's comment go against that? Or is there, yeah, that's just how it's like to me. I did watch a video about I did read is that there's a random girl named Stacy, but she has diabetes because there is I don't say patch, but that's not the correct. Don't expect the right word, but she does have So I didn't notice it, but I did see an Easter egg that one of the girls does look like Riley from Inside Out. I didn't really catch any other things out of the ordinary, like were interesting, like in that kind of regard. Saying I really wasn't sure where to look for him. I did hear it's a Pizza Planet truck, but I just didn't notice it in my watch. Okay, next thing is I find it funny how the rest of the game get Four Town involved in the end after Mom attacks, and it's immortalizing the temple, and that they're fundraising $1 billion to replace the stadium. It's like, well, like, technically is their fault, but it's like that's almost feel like something like out of a dream. I think like you put so much faith in her friends and all that. She's actually kind of like still put under control. And all else feels like more like she can like transform or henshin, using a Toku term, into the panda as needed and not out of control, which I think, I don't know if that's something that either was lost in the generations or it's just something that's never really been a factor before. And I guess there's a lot of internal, external. I think it's just a common thing is that family pressure as well as internal and external factors can affect mood. It's kind of like thing with it's kind of like in Encanto in my own family situation. But I think going back to like her masteries that with the dad seeing that Malin and her friends were trying to make the most of her gift in a good way, that maybe that is a turning point for Malin to understand her. She's really mastered it in a way, and also I think making amends with Tyler before that, like for the dad finds out, and that helps in the short term, especially like when I start getting closer, going at the concert, and he's just one of the girls now. Like there is a talk that he is queer. It's like you don't necessarily need to be one thing or the other to go against traditional gender roles or expectations. Just me. The big thing interesting stage is that all Malin's maternal relatives were green. Not only is it akin to luck, like a shamrock, but patience, harmony, and fertility. And also, Miriam also wears green as one of her closest friends. I think I read deeper than that, like more the meanings of like Abby and Pariahs. Heartfelt movies and twist endings, good. Maybe, maybe humor, maybe not like may not as much, but it is definitely. But I think we kind of agree. It's definitely more. Generally, content things are going in a different direction, more advanced and less black and white storytelling. I think seeing that right now at the moment, it's mostly dealing issues between the generations, which makes it obviously there's no clear cut good or bad. But at least that's at least something that provides like a problem within the physical world, even though obviously this is more deeper about family roots and stuff like that. So recently, this is the newest thing on here is Sophie Scholl, because for my history class we had to watch a World War II film, even though she recommended The Downfall. I knew of this from the White Rose. Someone did a music video music video, quote unquote, but like, having the music and then photos for George Johnson's The White Rose. See, I saw the poster for film in there, and this is a German film. It is in German. Thanks for what I watched in German with English subtitles. I was saying, continuing with the writer, I said it was of justice, and technically Connor originated as a dude beating up Nazis, but that's just thing that's like, but I'm like also like I think right now is sure their refusal were financed by the Reich, but they couldn't just stand aside for their opinion of justice, which is I put in parentheses why Warsaw War itself, why couldn't he stop or simply unite in German territories, things would be different and Hitler kept it where basically like sort of like was just because no one really tried to stop his expansionist ideals, or if he just really wanted to try to make Germany a supermassive power, like an empire once again. It's like, sure, you can control all of the German-speaking world, but why do you have to deal with everything else? I do think that like that is definitely a larger part of the problem than anything. At least expansionist ideals is something on my mind that usually isn't talked about. But then again, it is important to talk about the Holocaust and what happened as well. But when how much of that goes hand in hand, or if he wasn't so expansionist, maybe things wouldn't be as Holocaust or as bad or whatever. That's a difficult topic, but thing is that most of it is within the police station before the trial, which has like a show trial, kind of a sham. They kind of know their fates, but they do try and save Hans from the guillotine just because he's dead and his wife is in danger, and that's like basically someone who is treasonous is not worthy to be a father of our people, basically. Yeah. I think her favorite thing bit more than the last, right? And it comes up in her initial interviews, and she prays a few times. Also, in the end, goes black when so go to the guillotine, and then you do hear the other two going through the guillotine as well. I believe Hans was next, and he has some last words, and then it fades into that one of their things they did made it to England, and then spread across Germany over to Sartre. Death, and actually mentioned the end credits that a lot of other people faced harsh sentences and some a bit less harsh. But I don't think I think I've seen there might only be like one or two people left of the White Rose that are still alive to this day. Yeah, it's nothing. Again, like the rest of these films, it's like they definitely don't follow the Disney model of trying to sell merchandise and be a part of that machine. This is still like it's still a decent biopic. I would recommend to watch it if you're into World War II or German history. But the next two, the choir, or technically it was Spanish, French, kind of literally the choir boys from its originally in French, and then Military Arch is a British film. Like this is definitely more of a comedy. And I watched it. One of these I watched on the way, so it goes the other way. And one of these I watched on the way back from Barcelona, and I watched to Saragossa. I believe that was Military's latter episode. Didn't finish it because Saragossa is halfway between Madrid and Barcelona. Yeah, so basically, Choir Boys is I think it's a random French film, and yeah, it was on the way back, but it ended when we got to Saragossa. It's weird that I think they have jacks for headphones you can listen to the films in, but you have you can look at the subtitles. So it's like interesting not seeing the audio, especially for a more musical based film like the Choir Boys. I think there is definitely a bit of a musical bit with Military Wives as well, if I remember correctly. They live out of school for Palm Boys. A new calls himself the Nuevo Vigilante, shows up and takes over some classes after the last person quit, decided to form a core group with the boys. Dangus was always doing chores until it was discovered that he was the lone baritone of the group, which comes in handy for their concert at the end of the school year. Nuevo Vigilante sticks around for a while as the school, but the protagonist got teacher's journal from the events of the story, which is spring 1949, and from the point of flashbacking from, he is a famous conductor, meets up with an old friend from this same school. I think they're in the States by the point flashbacking, and yeah, it's No Times is a mid-2000s British Czech flick about the commander's wife and another interracial marriage, former group before the other wives to do things together during the Afghan-Iraq wars. Yeah, I mentioned I have a choir. I was funny with seeing the Choir Boys, and again, I got before it's over. Nothing really much to say. It's like, this one's a bit interesting, I'd say. Not good, not bad. I feel like, it's like if it's something that you like, based on what I've talked about, then go watch it or watch it again. Just think that was an interracial film. I think there's a couple in there, and yeah, that was just the only thing that really stuck out to me there. But I feel there's definitely some fillers with this one. But again, these aren't really films that are meant to be marketing machines. I believe this is more of a major studio thing in this. It's definitely a lower budget thing, more art house style project. But yeah, again, so next time when I finally get to watch Dino Fury, plus get more detail about what's going on Revised and Dawn Brothers, that will be right after I get back on May 25th. I leave 20th, and that will be the premiere of Beyond the Border, El Despido Sultan, which is technically it's kind of the halfway point. Better terminology would be it is the summer movie for Beyond the Border. It goes in summer, and it's technically not in summer officially, because technically 20th, that is basically the start of summer break for me. And that's kind of why it's a summer movie, in my mind, especially more in relation to after Goku works. That's kind of where it fits. There's stuff that are recorded in March that won't be coming. You won't be seeing until like August or so, maybe July. I think the plan is that May 20th, spring break, over Memorial in June, and then July and August would be the final season, which is stuff around those straddly things from March, and then the rest of April, and now May, which there's only a few things in May. Labor Day tomorrow, San Isidro, and finale. Maybe one other thing, I don't know. But it was like I did go to Parque Warner in March, and like if I had that, I probably would have things be slightly pushed around. Maybe that vlog would have been out tomorrow, May 2nd, just because that is a holiday, and then kind of makes sense, that 2 week, close to 2 weeks for tests and stats. Prep on that, but I think for my projects I'm good. I emailed one to professors today. I might want to look over another one soon, just have analysis of that, but yeah, I know there's a lot. I kind of again, because it connects back with all the talk with the Fairly Odd Parents reboot, I decided to boycott writing Padrinos Volares. Even though, Pablo probably would not like that. And he's my man. Haven't met him. Man. Just say, I like that guy for no good reason. So anything else on top of my mind that's like coming soon, or anything else I want to go into? Next, Time Ranger, Time Force, those are good seasons, so maybe I should probably watch at least according to people. Double, like Double, or actually trying to watch X-Aid. I only watched the pilot of X-Aid. See, Double and X-Aid were probably the two series I probably would want to watch next that are older series in terms of Choku. But yeah, I don't only think that is about it for all I have today. Testing out the new slide feature, which I don't know if there's any good cheats for moving through like these things. But just clicking on it just so I can look at the chat in that regard. But yeah, nothing else to say. Not much time left in Spain, unfortunately. I've said go on the 20th, my dad the 22nd, back talking to me the 25th. Gonna see if Don Fury is on in Spain, not like España now, but yeah, until next time, I'm Lindsay, comment, like, subscribe, and strike the bell.